have come up post Kenyans going to the polls. Today is exactly a week since Kenyans cast their ballots, and today the Anglican bishops, led by the Archbishop of ACK, Jackson Ole Sapit, have called for an audit for the IEBC election management process to inform the election reforms. And of course, they're calling for an independent body to spearhead this particular audit of our election systems. Gentlemen, with NASA expected to make their pronouncement any minute now, does this suggestion by the ACK bishops, led by the Archbishop, in any way, will it bring closure to Kenyans if this particular audit would be done? I'll start with you, Kevin.
For me, closure, of course, it's important for an audit to be done, because you note that Kenyans across the board have been saying elections cannot divide us, 50-50 or even 60-40 or even 30-70, because we are Kenyans, and it's important that we are united so that we can be able to build a strong foundation for the development, both economic, social, political, and even cultural of our country. So it is important that even as we move forward, those audits are necessary, that they are done. However, it is also not right for us to be able to be looking at these things from a perspective that does not inform processes towards an end that you can be able to say that it informs the decisions that are made. Because why I say this is because even before the elections, we saw people calling for a lot of reforms of the IEBC. And right now, as all of us here are saying, and Professor rightfully said, the observers made pronouncements over this process. And for a long time, the faith-based organization or religious leaders have also been speaking, and everyone has been talking about peace, 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 peace. I am very excited that now people are beginning to talk about truth and justice. And for you to be able to get truth, you must go deep into the issues. So audit processes present an opportunity for people to establish the truth. Akisa, you and I and Kenyans all over know that the IEBC system is still tallying results. What is going on? What is happening? What are the indicators that this kind of audit are actually going to present towards informing the process? Because note again that IEBC has not come to say anything about the system. And there are, of course, stakeholders that are asking for this audit. But how far can this audit be able to inform the ongoing issues? Because Kenyans are saying, we expect Raila to say what we do not know right now, whether KHRC and AfriCorp and others were going to act on his behalf or in his call probably to ask the public to be able to take up this process, that KHRC and AfriCorp were going to be those representatives. No one knows. So it is good for us to have audits, but I believe that truth and justice must play a part and a role insofar as how we move forward is concerned.
Prof, do you agree?
Considerably. In fact, information available on several levels suggests that this action by Fazul is very carefully coordinated. It is not the issue of left hand knowing what the right hand is doing. Because if you go back to the day that tallying was being done, some of us and a few other people have information that this particular action was already being contemplated on the floor of Bomas. A friend of mine even saw Fazul showing a dignified member of government that he already had a copy of a letter from the governor of Central Bank. So, I mean, these are actions that suggest that there is no need to strive for the truth. There is no need to strive for justice.
So an audit won't do much
you see,
for us as a country?
For me, an audit is necessary, but is not likely to end the whole thing. It will bring out most likely new information, and whoever is involved in subverting the people's will do whatever they can to make sure the audit doesn't bring out what it should. My appeal, that is very simple, is this. Let us not think small. Let us think big. Let us stand on top of the box and think from there. If you look at the issue, I am a grandfather. I'm looking at the questions my grandchildren are asking me about what is happening. When children at the age of 12, at the age of 17, the age of 9, are asking me questions which I'm supposed to answer on behalf of the government, and I tell them, why don't you call the Ministry of Communication and ask them, because I'm unable to be their advocate.
Okay, let's hear from Richard.
What am I saying?
Yeah.
What am I saying here? I am saying, do not undermine the future for our children. What I'm telling my children to tell the truth, but the government is lying to my children, and they're holding me responsible for not stopping the government from lying to them.
All right, let's hear from Richard.
Now, Akisa, when I look at the church currently, I'm taken aback in the 1990s when the church was still the salt and the light of the world. As currently constituted, is the church still the salt and the light of the world? Can they still be, as a good shepherd, can they still be followed by their flock? Because remember, as currently constituted, we have seen churches taking sides. They are not neutral players. Some of them are viewed as an extension of various political parties. So it will be very difficult. It will be very difficult, and I don't know how they will come in and start telling their followers either not to do something or to do something. Because as it is today, they will, unless they recharge themselves, because the Bible is very clear. When the salt lost its taste, the only other option that it's left of it is to be thrown away. I don't want to say that we need to throw them away, but they have taken side. We have seen.
You're disappointed by the manner in which the church has conducted itself.
We have seen churches going to bed with various political parties. Some of them are at the peril of some of these politicians. So sometimes wherever they talk, most of Kenyans view them as if they are representing that partisan view of a particular political party. Because remember, currently, there is that political divide that it's asking, yes, we can move on, but let there be justice. Yeah. There is another one that it's saying, we can move on, but let there be peace. Now, I don't know which narrative the church is going to pick. Whether it will go for the narrative of let there be justice, or it will go for the narrative that let there be peace.
Okay, I want us to cross over to my business colleague, Gabi Agina, but I would like to have the last word on this, Kyoko, before we take a look at business news, then we come back to the discussion.
The audit, the call for the system audit is a fair call. Incidentally, audits can be proactive or reactive. Today, this system audit is a reactive one. They will look at the system after the fact. Maybe before we went to the election, we should have subjected this system below the line stress level to see how it performs, so that all actors have a credible view of potential threats and potential opportunities to deal with those threats. Be that as it may, I think you cannot self-incriminate, in all fairness. IEBC cannot subject itself to a public outcry of a systems audit. I don't think they'll do that, because that's self-incriminating. However, it is incumbent on our part as NASA supporters and the leadership of NASA to be able to come out with facts and say, in Kaiti constituency, a polling station called Kivutini, Raila got 300 votes. Here, this system says Raila got 15 votes. Pick another random polling station somewhere and present an argument, and then say, based on this sample polling stations, we now demand an audit of this system so that we check everywhere. And that audit can be and should be ordered by the High Court. Now, all these arenas of conversation, because now we are pleading. The church is pleading to Chiloba and the Chebukati to do a system audit. They can say, yes, we'll do the system audit after the fact, after the president has been sworn in. But the moment we present our tangible evidence based on random selected, and then we say we are going to court, and our courts are very proactive, they will give us an order that will say, based on this thing, now let this thing be audited, let us get an impartial auditor, and it will move the country forward. Otherwise, speculation, otherwise innuendos, otherwise a call for action that is based on nothing. Raila's statements today, like I said yesterday, he must come out with those facts. He must come out with those facts.
Yes,
so that as a base, we are rejuvenated. The same way the government has given us purpose today. Now we are going to bed and we'll start speculating. I
Okay.
can tell you that for free.
We're getting into the conversation on what do we expect Raila Odinga to tell Kenyans any minute now. We don't know the time, we don't know the place.
He said today, and
but it's
today is up
today.
to midnight.
Yes, but we have a few hours to midnight. But let's take a look at what's happening in the world of business. My colleague, Abi Agina, now joins us from our other studios to just tell us what is making headlines.